day I realised that most people don't know that much about their cars, and in reality you may not think that's a big issue, but it is. You're more susceptible to getting scammed by garages or having to pay out in expensive serviceable parts, and they really can be expensive. Today, let's talk about the top 10 things you need to know about your car. Let's take a look. Number 1. Should you warm up your car before driving? Short answer, yes. This has nothing to do with the weather. So if you're like in a cold place or you're in a hot place, your engine still needs to be warmed up. It has nothing to do with the weather. When you start your car and drive straight away, you're actually putting fuel through your engine while the oil in your engine is still cold. And that can cause a lot of wear. You don't want that because that can be expensive. If you give your car maybe 30 to 60 seconds of just idling before you drive, that oil can warm up and it will cause less wear. Number 2, how do I check my tyre pressure? Well, the first thing you need to know is about PSI. Now, PSI is basically the term used to measure the pressure in your tyres. So you need to be aware when you're going to change your tyre pressure that it may have been cold or hot or you've driven for a long time. That can change the PSI. First, let's head down to the garage.
You can find the PSI inside the driver or passenger's door sill. Mine is 39 PSI. Put your pound in, set the PSI number, and take the hose to the first tyre. Unscrew the dust cap, push the end on until the air starts flowing. It will beep when it's done.
This is something that gets talked about quite a lot. Number 3, should I spend more money on my tyres? Yes. They're the only thing that touches the road. You might be the safest driver. You might go every speed limit. You're going 30 into 30. A kid runs out and you've got them cheap tyres. You've been running on them for a while and your stopping distance, it's just... You may save a life just by spending more on your tyres. You might think, oh, I know, but they're so expensive. Not all tyres. One of the best, underrated, affordable tyres are the Uniroyal Rain Sports. And they're all weather, so you haven't got to change them in summer and winter. Win-win. 4. Why are services so important? Think of your car like a body. It has organs. It needs its doctor checkups. Eat your greens, your 5 a day, your water. Otherwise, you won't live as long. You'll get sick, illnesses, diseases. Well, your car is exactly the same. Its service is its doctor checkup, is its health checks. Also, if you're thinking of selling your car after you've had it, it will literally be worth so much more. Number 5, how often should I clean my car? This is actually so important because lots of things can affect your paintwork. If you have like salt on the road or, you get a lot of bird poo in your area, that can all affect your paintwork. And in the long run, that can actually lead to rust. Too much rust and you failed your MIT. And also rust treatment can be like super expensive. When you just think, oh, I'll just pop to that local hand car wash. No. A lot of hand car washes don't do a good job. They actually make it worse than it already was. You see those big circular scratches on your car. Awful, awful. What you need is to wash it yourself. I know. But it can really save your paintwork. Number 6. Is it worth paying more for fuel? I can't say this enough. Yes! It is so important to buy good fuel for your car. Lower quality fuels build up all this gunk and nastiness that you don't want in your engine. Also, it significantly lowers your car's efficiency. So in the long run, you may end up paying more than you would if you'd actually just bought better fuel. Higher quality fuels, they let your car run at maximum performance. It higher your fuel efficiency. And remember I said earlier about paying more? Well, let me show you this tank.
When oil is dug up from the ground, it is heated. Some sinks and some rises. The oil is used for lots of different things. A small section in the middle is used for car fuels. Out of this, there are high, medium and low quality fuels. There is a big difference between the high and the low quality.
And you may be thinking now, I've been using supermarket fuels for years. There's no need to change now. Wrong! Shell V-Power actually has a cleaning product, and after a few uses, your car will actually be cleaned out of all that gunk and will return to running efficiently. Another quick tip that I have for you is, when you're like driving up to the petrol station, you're like, what size is my fuel cap on? I always forget this. Let me show you.
In my car, it's right here. See? This symbol shows a fuel tank and an arrow. The arrow points to the side which your fuel cap is on. You can find this symbol on or near your dashboard.
Number 7. How do I open my bonnet? Now, you might think that is an easy question, but not always. So today I'm going to be using examples from 2 different cars that have slightly different ways of opening a bonnet.
In general, this is the area to look for your bonnet release latch. In the Mini, pull the latch once to release, and again to unlock. Then just lift. It will hold itself. In the Volkswagen, pull the latch to release. Under the bonnet, push this latch and lift. Release the latch and lift at the same time.
Now we've got our bonnets open, that brings us to point number 8. How do I check my oil level? I'm going to quickly start by saying that some newer cars, it's actually checked from the inside, like from the navigation inside the car. My Mini 2017, it's all inside. Most cars need to get that bonnet up and check the oil manually. But first, make sure that your car hasn't been running for a while or you haven't been driving it recently. You don't want to check the oil when the car's hot. We need to be looking for something called a dipstick. That sounds like a funny name, I know. It's just what it's called. These normally kind of stand out from the engine. They're bright colours, normally yellow or red. In this car you can see it's yellow. Pull that baby out, wipe it clean and dip it back in. And I see on the end here, there's those 2 little notches. Well, that's your low and high level. You want your oil to be somewhere around the middle to the highest section. If your oil is near the bottom or below that, you're going to need to top up your oil. I think it's time to take a trip to Halfords. So, now we're here, and you still don't know quite what to buy.
Use the Halfords in-store checker. You can also find it on their website. Enter your car's registration, confirm, and this is the oil I need. And I can find it on the shelf here.
Number 9. How do I change a headlight bulb? You may just think, I will buy the brightest bulb ever. That's not always a good idea. 1, you're blinding other people, and 2, it might actually be illegally bright and you might get pulled over for it. Let's go have a look at what bulbs you can buy and how to know if they're right for your car.
Let's get onto the Halfords website. Search Halfords bulb checker. This one. My reg is already there. So click Find. And today we are looking at the main beam headlights, which is this one. It shows the right bulbs for my car. And we can see what the prices are here. And here we can see what bulb it is. The H4472. Now we know what it is, let's shop around, starting with Amazon. Just search the bulb, H4472, headlight bulb, yes. And here it is, good ratings, Amazon choice, and a bit cheaper. In terms of fitting, because every car is a bit different, have a look for a tutorial for your car model. Or, as we saw earlier, you can pay extra for the Halfords We Fit service.
We've come to our final, number 10. How do I know if my brakes are wearing? One thing that you should always do is test your brakes. If you go through water, you need to do a brake test afterwards. What is a brake test? It's basically where you do an emergency stop. You test when your ABS kicks in, how quickly it takes you to stop. If you feel like you're sliding quite a long way, that might be an issue. Always make sure you do this when there's nobody else around and it's quiet, and also you're on a dry bit of road. If you're on a wet bit of road or where it's supposed to be raining, you might have a bit of a different result and you might think that your brakes are worse than what they are. So let's also have a look at how you can actually see where. It's go have a look at some brake calipers.
In this car, the brake calipers are large and red. Looking behind, you can see the small black part that connects to the shiny disc. That's the brake pad. That example had minimal wear, similar to the new pads at the top here. The bottom ones have a fair amount of wear and would be advisable to change soon.
So that brings us to the end of the top 10 things you need to know about your car. I will add a link also to the Uniroyal Rain Sports that I mentioned earlier because they really are great tyres and they're affordable. A Girl's Guide will be posting a new video every week. Woo! Next week it will be what to look for when buying a used car. If you like my content today, hit subscribe and stay up to date. I'll see you then.